Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion.
Hello once again and welcome to Poetry in Motion Sunday. I'm Craig Lewis and you're watching episode 41. And let's start with my first poem. This one's called Blessed Be the Couple Who Only Death Can Pull Apart. As blatant as the tides coming in on the sea, a replacement in mind there is likely to be. Is it surprising to see that the novelty's worn if the duties of the spouses are underperformed? Maybe that's why one suggests the contract be torn. Some will weather the storm and work it out, like a puzzle with 1,000 pieces to count. But if the drought becomes a joy, a silent house they will both employ with room for only fights. One's commitment to work is over-increased, now one must embrace the lonely nights. There was a time when each was such a pleasant sight to wake to, booking flights and destinations to escape to. Now they relate to the couple seeking counseling. One thinking there is hope, one thinks they'll never take a spouse again. The latter one is bound to win the freedom they requested. Now the others plagued with complex seeking reasons for rejection. Some have taken on demons for such reasons and have even been sectioned. And so the question that remains, is Cupid leaving out the point that love is attached to pain? If that's the aim, then the fact remains. We take our chances when we gamble our heart. So blessed be the couple whom only death can depart. And moving on to my second poem, this was called The Way He's Inclined. By force he's inclined to judge the faults of his mind, like a jury's verdict on suspects of crime. And it's one thing he'd find such treasure, how each fault made him feel was his measure. The ones he dispersed back to sender like mail, he'd grab by the tail, then follow the trail from which they came. A list of thoughts with different aims to the persistent frame of the mind he'd like to keep. Vibes of peace and oneness with nature. He became what he thought, a creator with caution. If negative was hashtagged as distortion, he'd simply refrain from the use in his post. His social media was used for the quotes aligned with his being, mind-freeing in light, like a number sang by a UPS voice. There's no unjust choice in his whole DNA. He's chosen this way, and known to display a ready smile that would light up the room. Like the black night is lightened by the moon and the stars, he speaks with a voice soothing like a massage. And moving on to my third and final poem for the day, this one is called Do You Ever Wish You Could Recapture Years? Like a castle built on sand, diminished by the wind, so too the loyalty of man can shrivel from within. As a woman in the deep end of a pool she cannot swim, is dependent on the god to be her savior and jump in. Fear is like the fire stood melting candles slowly. Your faith is like the distant relative that didn't know thee. A comfort zone is cozy and it's there that most reside. Life is only rosy when the means have multiplied. The scene of chosen lives plays on the multi-screen. Open eyes from broken sleep has left a broken dream. Joy and pain are like two walls we often go between. As grown as one may be, a child your mum will always see. Misfortunes like a sometime friend that visits when they fail. Some are good at hiding and controlling what they reveal. A poker face is like a work of art, approached with skill. Yet happiness is the very thing the soul would hope to feel. Life they say is short, when does one know to write a will? The sight of bills with a tint of red can splinter heads with stress, till one hops into their bed and feels deprived from rest. Then you begin to think about names tattooed on your flesh, next to tattooed tears. Do you ever wish sometimes you could recapture years? And there you have it, your poetry fix from me for this week. I hope you enjoyed. Until next week, short and sweet. Take care.
Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday.